Okay, so quickly, before we get into it, can you see yourself in the camera? In the thing? The mirror isn't there for you to look at yourself. The mirror is there so that I know when the media card has run out.
But also, I haven't worn headphones like this in a long time. So
Scoot, get closer to me. Come on, act like you love me.
Okay.
So firstly, I want to talk about these sunglasses really quickly. So they look super cool when they're on top of my head, but they look like, I look awful.
They're terrible.
They're terrible.
Really bad.
I know, I bought them online because I thought they were really cool.
Oh, you actually bought them recently?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
It was a big waste of money.
I thought, found them at the bottom of a box. Used to have them when I was a teenager. Thought they'd be cool, and now they're not.
I wish that was the case, but I bought them thinking, wow, these are going to look so nice. I actually wanted to get Gucci pink sunglasses, and they were just like £700. So I was like, no.
These will do.
These will do. These pink, thick things will do. And they only look cool on the top of my head, but they don't look cool on my face. So that's the story of that. So before we get into red flags or deal breakers. Sorry, I just realised I just came very close to the microphone. So
should I be that close too?
No, I'm just assaulting people's ears right now.
Okay.
Before we get into red flags and deal breakers, I want to introduce my dear friend, drumroll.
Oh, mine was so
aggressive.
Percussive. Yeah. Okay.
What did you just say?
Percussive.
What does that mean?
Like,
oh yeah, you're a music.
like
aren't you a
drums.
Music person? Your family or something?
Used to be, yeah. My sister is. My brother, yeah. Everyone. I used to be, not anymore. I was one of those high school hey, I'll sing at the talent contest.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
But I feel like cute little girls can get away with that. Like, I don't know an instrument, so I'm just gonna sing and use my
innocently
voice.
in my school uniform. Also, it was just like an easy A for my A levels, you know.
An easy A. Wow,
A.
we have a confident
On topic
singer.
as well.
Yeah. Oh, true. So yes, this is my good friend Eva. Eva, we actually know each other from a funny, interesting kind of way. So we met at university, and you're in the year above me or the year below?
Year above.
Eva's in the year above me, and I used to be kind of in the same friendship group as her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And Eva was always the really hot girl who I didn't know, and all the guys that were my friends thought Eva was so hot. And in the library, I mean, Eva is hot, but in the library that we used to study at Edinburgh,
I forgot about this.
Eva was just known as the hot library girl amongst all my friends who are guys.
But also, it was only on the 4th floor because everyone sat on the 4th floor. So I was one of the 4th floor hot girl. That's hard
girls.
to say.
4th floor hot girls.
I forgot about that. That came out a year or so into my relationship with this guy.
Yeah.
That all of I'd been a topic of conversation, and then it was just awkward from there on out.
Awkward, but come on, you loved it. I love it.
It's good for the ego. What can I say?
100%. But the way that Eva, this is just such a good story that we actually have to tell it. So can you tell it, the story of how you asked Blah, who shall remain unnamed, Eva's ex-boyfriend, how you asked him out?
I thought you were going to ask me to tell the story of how we met, but okay.
Wait, what's the story of how you met? Oh, I am.
Okay.
But I want to do a side note.
Okay, so the story of how I met Blah was essentially, as you may have been able to tell from that conversation there, library crushes were quite a big thing. And so I had a library crush, this guy, and basically I was working myself up to introduce myself to him or something, but the 4th floor you weren't allowed to speak. So I was how am I going to do this? So I was in the library by myself. It was a Saturday, and I essentially was just fuck it, can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, fuck it.
I'm gonna
fuck it. I'm gonna just give him my number. So he was a few rows in front of me. I write my number on this ripped off corner of paper and my name. It just said Eva and my phone number. No cute message or anything.
But you had chemistry, right? You had those kind of looks at each other again, through the bookcases of I fancy you, right?
There'd been some eye contact, but not. I don't know. I don't really think there'd been major chemistry. We definitely made eye contact, but I was just I really fancy you. I have to give you my number. And so then I did 4 laps of the library before I had the balls to finally put my number on his table. And so I did.
But
I just awkwardly plopped it down and slid it across whilst maintaining eye contact. And he just kind of looked at me, and his friend, Josh Trapp, was beside him. Obviously I didn't know him at the time. And they were both just looking at me as I was And then, thank God, he messaged me, and it wasn't that awkward, and then the rest is history.
But it's so ballsy, and I just love... I don't think that girls ask guys out enough, and I think girls need to do that more. And so hearing that story was, like, I've only ever asked one guy out in my whole life.
I think it rarely goes wrong as well. Like, if girls have the balls to do it...
There's a lot of respect.
Yeah, unless, like, the guy's in a relationship or something like that. Like, 9 times out of 10, the guy is probably going to rate it. Like, I haven't heard a story where it's gone badly.
Me neither. And also guys have, you know, they put so much on their ego, and like I feel like guys really benefit well from an ego boost occasionally, you know. And so I feel like it's such a big ego boost that not only will they have respect for you, but like they're so kind of like boosted from that it's probably going to go well. Like they're probably going to text you either way. But yeah, and so then me and Eva met because when I was
friends with him.
Yes, I was kind of friends with him. Like I was friends with all of those guys who were sitting at that desk when you came and slid the number across, and they all told me this story, and I was like, wow, this girl's amazing. And this was kind of like the peak of me doing my Progress Pure fitness stuff, and Eva was very much into fitness, very much into the gym and health and nutrition. You studied sports science, and Eva was going to start a fitness Instagram page. And so did you text me or did you Facebook message me?
I think I DM'd you.
Yeah, maybe you DM'd me.
But I basically, so I was going to create a fitness blog because I was trying to get an internship with a sports brand. And so...
Nike?
And yeah.
Why don't you just say Nike?
I'm like worried about copyright. Like, who do I think I am?
A sports brand. It's
okay, with Nike. And I was going to do that post my degree. And so I thought the blog would help, basically. And so I messaged Molly and was like, can we have a coffee? Can you give me some tips? Or can we just like have a chat? Because I don't know whether or not I should do this. And you were really nice. And
thanks, babes.
Again, the rest is history.
The rest is history. Here we are. And since then, you know, I've been in a relationship. I've got to say relationships. I've only really been in the one relationship. Eva's been in relationships, kind of, yeah. And
one since then.
One since
long
then.
Term.
Right.
Because I was single for like, after that breakup, I was single for almost 2 years. Now I've been with Alex. Yeah,
so now Eva has a long-term boyfriend. You guys have been going out for how long?
Almost 3 years.
Great. So life is great for some of us. I am still flying solo. I'm single. And I mean, either way, it doesn't really matter. I think that red flags or deal breakers are still prevalent to people, whether they're dating, you have to be at least dating, whether you're dating or whether you're in relationships. And
everyone has stories. Everyone has red flags, bad dates, good dates.
Yeah.
Just
scenarios, awkward scenarios. So I've essentially written some things that I thought about, some things I found online, some things that I thought about that I thought these are red flags and deal breakers, and I just want to bring those up, spark the conversation with you, and see if you have differing opinions to what, because when I have these and I'm like, damn, that's a red flag or that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So I find it fascinating when people have
I
controversial...
was so surprised at your polls on Instagram stories as well. I'm like, what are people thinking?
Yeah, I know.
It is interesting, isn't it?
I know. Okay, so the first one to kick this off is what I would call a love bomber. So Eva, let's say you've gone on a date with someone, you're on their 3rd or 4th date, and they have turned around, they said, I'm really into you. Or they haven't dropped the L word necessarily, but they're saying things like, I'm falling for you.
Ick. Probably a deal breaker. Because once that would ick me out big time. If it was too soon.
Yeah.
It was, uncomfortable, awkward. I don't think I'd be in that position that quickly. Ick, done. Once you get the ick, you can't go back.
I also want to define for some people who don't know what the ick means. So the ick is one of my favorite English terms. So the ick is essentially like you're seeing someone, you think you like them, and then they do like one thing and you're like, ooh, that was weird.
It literally, like the noise itself is like ick. It's just like,
yeah. They do one thing. It could be anything. Like maybe they didn't shave their beard all off properly and they have like stray hairs.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It's not that one thing. It's like there's something in you that doesn't sit right about that person, and then one thing sets it off, and then everything about them is disgusting. Yeah, you're just like, ugh.
Oh God, get away.
Everything. Love bombers for me is a deal breaker.
Yeah, for sure. It's not just a red flag, because like how many other girls have they done that with? First of all, like is it going to be like way too yo-yo-y, like it's 100 or 0, just not too much?
And for me, by the way, I cut vegetables before and I'm now conscious that my hand smells of vegetables, but anyway.
Vegetables or like garlic or...
No, like I don't even know what that means. Smell it, babes. Sorry, so Love Bomber for me is also like a big insight into, I think, them as a person and where they are, and potentially that they're insecure. Probably insecure, or probably looking to fill some kind of hole, because it would be like, you don't know me though, like you don't know, unless we'd been in like some massive dramatic experience that brought us like super close. They don't know me. Too intense. Okay, so we have an agreement on that. Okay, someone sent this to me and I was like, dude, this is a block. But anyway,
really?
What about if someone texts with their former ons/partners/significant others, you ask them about it and they kind of deny it? They're like, no, like we don't really message, but then you kind of see on their phone, like, I know you dated that girl for a while.
Yeah, done.
Bye. Block.
Like, obviously they're lying to you about it.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen, how's that even a question?
Well, what if you had been dating them for like a year? It probably makes it worse the longer you've been dating them. It's like,
Yeah, I think deal breaker. Like, if they're messaging their ex, they have history with their ex, and either way, they're like, why are they dating you if they still have something going on with somebody else? If it's like a new dating thing, or if you're in a long-term relationship, then obviously you're fucked.
You know, I don't mind at all if I was dating someone and they were texting their ex for a reason, but if they deny it and they lie,
100%.
block, move on, goodbye.
Done. Agree.
Okay, you're on a date with someone, you really like them, you really like them, you're like, wow, this guy's so great, like he's funny, you know, all girl, whatever your preference is, blah, blah, blah. And they tell you that they got out of a relationship 1 month ago and you're their first Hinge date.
See, it depends what you want out of it, I think. No, because like if you were just looking for something like casual and a little bit fun, like obviously I've just broken up with somebody 1 month ago screams rebound. So if I was just like, you're kind of fit and like I'm not really looking for anything serious, then I probably
just want to bang them.
Yeah, I just probably wouldn't care, because you know exactly what you want to get out of it, or like you don't care if it doesn't go well.
Sure, but then all of these, if you're going into this in a date thinking, I just want to have sex with this person, they're just attractive, then none of these really matter. So all of these are kind of like, you go into it with the potential of, could this be something? Could this be a relationship?
Yeah, okay. In that case, then probably too soon. I mean, you need to know the deets of that breakup. How long were they together? Was he the one dumped, or she? Were they the dumpy? I would have a lot of questions for sure.
I would have a lot of questions.
So I think red flag, and then based on the information, it would either be a deal breaker or a like, okay, cool.
I agree. For me, it would be a red flag. It wouldn't necessarily be a deal breaker depending on the circumstances of everything.
Because who hasn't gone on a date a month after they've broken up with someone before?
True, but not everybody goes on a date a month after they break up with someone and are looking for something serious.
True.
Like if they were like, no, I really like you, I kind of want something serious. Just from personal experience, and obviously personal experience is not the same for everyone, but from my personal experience, I have grown so much in the year having broken up with my ex.
Oh yeah, you do. You learn a lot about yourself, don't you?
A lot about yourself. Yeah. And I think if I hadn't had that year, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And so for me, it would be a red flag. But then again, some people are just like, and this is also a red flag for me, but like those relationship types.
They hop about.
They go from relationship to relationship.
It is a red flag for me as well, because you just need to have some you time and figure out what you want. Like, that I'm relatively, I don't know if you agree, but I would say I tend to be the person that my friends come to for relationship advice, one, and I think it's because I have such a black or white approach to it, and my opinions are based on my experiences, but also you only really have time to like learn and grow from those experiences if you have single time. If you just hop into relationship to relationship, you're just basically bandaging over like pain or whatever. You're not happy by yourself, one, and you're also not recovering from like any of your losses or your relationships before you're hopping into another one. So essentially you're just using other people to make you feel better. They're not like a happy bonus. It's just like
I kind of agree and kind of disagree. I agree that from a perspective of someone who, like, I agree with that as a human being. Like, I'm like that. Like, I need time on my own to heal. But there are some people who I think actually do better with other people.
Yeah.
Like, it would be a bit of a red flag for me to go on a date with someone and they say that they've been in 10 relationships and they have only had like a few weeks in between. But I do know people who are better with people.
Yeah.
You know, and potentially heal better with others in their life.
Yeah, but how do you know what you want if you don't give yourself a chance to like learn? Like, you have to figure out what you want from a relationship, what is going to be important to you, what you don't want from any of your previous relationships. And you can't do that if you just, I feel like people, this is like a big stereotype, but essentially the more picky you are, in my opinion, the longer term your relationship is likely to be, because you've really thought about what you want to get out of that relationship. You're not just like, this person's quite nice, like I could stay with them and I like the attention, or I like the intimacy, or I like, as you say, like I'm just better when I have someone around. Those people aren't, in my opinion, choosing the best person for them. They just like having a person. And so that's what I disagree with, because I just don't see the point.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I do agree with that. And I think that people who potentially know what they want, it's good, because I think I was talking to Anna, one of my best friends, about this last night actually, and we were saying that I think as you get older, and I think a lot of this comes from being on your own and being single, you learn to really appreciate yourself as a human being. And it's not like, oh, I'm single, I don't have anyone, I need someone. I feel like when you're single, you're kind of like, I'm going to be with myself, and like I'm going to not like date myself, but I'm going to invest time in myself. And on a Saturday night, if I don't have any plans, like I'm going to spend that time enjoying being on my own and you know, and like learning and developing and etc.
And you meet people you wouldn't meet.
Exactly. There are definitely pros to it, but I think that time being single strengthens you, because it makes you realize that, kind of going back to what you were saying, that you don't want to just go out with any Tom, Dick and Harry that fancies you, because you're like, no, like I have a lot to offer, I have a lot of love to bring, I have a lot of insight and all this stuff. So when you're picky and you know, like, I want to date somebody who's really kind, or maybe has a lot of wit, or whatever it is, you've thought about it and you make those choices.
Agree.
Yeah, better. Next one. Okay. They shoplift from big companies, but they justify it with social justice reasons. For example, I stole a chocolate. I didn't really, but like I stole a chocolate bar from Tesco, but it's fine because they're a massive corporation and they avoid paying tax anyway. So one could say.
Is this person okay? No, deal breaker. What? That's so fucking weird.
Because you're a criminal.
Well, one, like, the criminal aspect is one part of it. The way that they've justified it is bizarre. Like, let's dig deeper into that for a second. Like, they don't pay their taxes anyway. They're a massive corporation. They won't even notice this one chocolate bar. Like, you're unhinged.
Yeah.
Like, what?
You know, I don't think I care.
Has this happened to you?
No, I don't think I care, though. Like, I would be annoyed that they were trying to justify it. Like, I'd be like, okay, if you're going to steal a chocolate bar, just steal a chocolate bar and be like, listen, I just stole it. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be on board with it and I wouldn't be happy about it.
I get, like, like, I don't know, like, I can't, like, as a grown-up stealing a chocolate bar from a shop, I feel like there are a lot of questions to ask. Like, what? Specifically a chocolate bar as well. Like, it's, what, 60p to a pound or something? Is it that? But if you're just doing it for, like, the adrenaline hype, then cool. But then just own that. No, weird. Deal breaker for me.
For me, I don't think it's a red flag or a deal breaker. I'd just be like,
okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, weird, but like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'd be too fussed.
For me, I feel like that would, like, if that was one thing they were doing, there would be a lot of other weird behavior they'd be exhibiting that I'd be like, you're.
Yes, especially if it was like a constant thing that they did. Like if this was like once every day or like even every week, or it was a pattern, I think that'd be weird. If they like once, stole something from somewhere, I'd kind of be like, okay.
Yeah.
But if it was regular, it would be a red flag.
For sure.
If it was every day, it would be a deal breaker.
For sure.
Because you're just a criminal, a thief.
Absolutely. And the justification is also really odd.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. If you're going out with someone, they're your significant other, and you guys have been going out for 1 year, it's been going great, you're in a really good relationship, and then they tell you one night, you know, you're having a bit of a DMC, you've had a bit of booze, you know, you love each other, but it's all good, and they tell you one night that they've had feelings for someone else early on during the relationship, but those feelings are no longer there.
I think that's fine. I guess a bit of a red flag, but I think it is regularly the case that when you first start seeing somebody, there's some, like, a little bit of overlap, or there's a little bit of, like, something else, like some history, or like a little bit of what if with someone else or something. That's natural. Like, I guess if you've been together for a long time and it was ages ago, then I'd just be like, that's a bit weird and annoying, but cool. Like, I don't think it would bother me if everything since then had been absolutely fine, and if I trusted them. If they were like a dodgy person that I didn't trust.
No, you do trust. Like, okay, it's 1 year and you
then
love
I think
them.
it would be fine. I'd just be like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Like, that happens.
I think for me it would be a green flag.
A good thing.
A good thing.
That they were honest with you about it, or that it's healthy that they, like, liked other people but chose you?
I think life is not perfect. Relationships most of the time are pretty fucked up and complicated. And that kind of thing I can definitely see happening. And I think that if they felt we had good enough trust and honesty that they could tell me that, I think, one, it shows that they're over it because they don't feel like they have to lie about it. And two, they trust in the relationship that, like, I'm going to be okay with that.
Yeah, so I agree. It's a good thing that they told you, as in, like, they were casually honest about it. That is a good sign. So, yeah,
agreed.
Fine.
Green flags.
Fine.
Green flags all round.
Are these ones that people on your page have sent into you?
Some of them.
Okay.
Some of them are ones that I've come up with. Some of them are ones that have happened to me.
Yeah, I'm interested for those ones.
Do you want me to tell you one that's happened to me?
Let's do one of them now, yeah.
Okay, so I was exclusive.
Have you told me this before?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Okay.
And also I posted about this on my story, and then he DM'd me about this because he was like, lol, this is to do with me. So I was dating this guy, and on the first date, right, we're on the first date, we went to a pub, which, by the way, is a red flag for me. If I go on a first date with someone, it is the only first date.
You're very particular about this as well, aren't you? Molly's a big, like, first dates are super important. How they carry themselves, how much effort they put into it, their etiquette, paying for it.
A lot of it matters to me.
Yeah.
So we're on the first date, and he invites me to a pub, and I was a bit like, what the fuck? I honestly, as soon as he told me we were going to a pub, I thought, this is not going to go anywhere. Because I like a date. Like, I like to go to a bar and, like, have a nice time. And also, I don't go to pubs.
No.
Ever.
No, you don't.
So it's not just like I wanted to go to an expensive bar. It's like, I don't do that.
This is not what I enjoy.
I don't enjoy after work pub sesh. Like, so I just thought maybe he's that kind of guy, and maybe that's fine, but maybe it's not. So we go to this pub, and I met him, and I was a bit like, oh, you know, I don't know, he was attractive when I started speaking to him. When I first saw him, I was like, I'm not immediately attracted to him. But then we got speaking, and obviously the alcohol helped. And I was like, oh, I guess I do kind of fancy him. And then it was a really weird first date scenario where, like, it was me and him sitting outside on these benches, and then there were two old men, like 70 years old, sitting on our left, which was great. Like, I love, you know, people and conversation. And then these two really young people, a guy and a girl who are Australian, came and sat next to us on our right. And so it was like 6 of us, like, on this first date. And so I'm like having a great time. He's having a great time. You know, we're all chatting and everything. She's really drunk. The girl sitting next to him, really drunk. She's like kind of falling on his lap. And I'm a bit like, this is weird. Like, he should, if I was a guy, this is what he should have done. He should have got up and come and sat next to me. Like, she's very kind of like groping, not like groping his legs, but like, you know, pushing him and like putting his arm around her.
You say she's with a guy as well?
They're friends, though.
Okay.
She's putting his arm around this guy who I'm on a date with. And when that happened, I just thought to myself, okay, I'm never seeing him again. Like, this is fine. I'm going to finish my drink and then I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
Then, right, that was it. That's pretty much what I thought. All that happened. And then later on, she got too drunk. Her friend ended up taking her home. And then me and this guy hung out for the rest of the evening at the pub. And then we went out to a bar later. And we'd been dating for like a month or like 2 months, maybe a month and a half, and we have the chat about being exclusive, and we agree we're going to be exclusive, and he tells me that on that day they actually kissed when I wasn't looking.
At the table?
I was apparently, I didn't see it at all. Like, apparently I was at the table chatting to this old man. By the way, this guy the guy who I was on a date with got absolutely rinsed by the old men. So what I think happened...
They probably saw him.
Yeah, so what happened was, during that first date, suddenly, like, I'm talking to this old man to my left, and then suddenly he just goes, I'm sorry, I have to stop, and everyone's paying attention to him on the table. He points to the guy I'm on a date with, and he goes, what are you doing? You're on a date, with this beautiful girl, You're on a date with this beautiful girl, and you're acting like a child. And I just thought, oh, this guy's being great, because he is. Like, the guy who I was on a date with was, like, flirting with this other girl.
Oh, no.
And he goes, you're acting like a child. Like, you're on a date with this beautiful girl. He goes, I hate when this happens, when young guys take girls out and they don't treat them right. Like, this woman's amazing. You're not treating her right.
I love this guy.
I love him.
Yeah.
She deserves more respect. Like, what are you doing? And he gets up and he's like, what are you doing? And this guy's like, what do you mean? Like, blah, blah, blah. The guy who I was on a date with. Anyway, I'm just kind of like, ha, oh my God, I need to go home. Like, what's happening? But that must have been because the guy who then I was exclusive with told me that they must have kissed. I don't think it was a get with. Like, I don't think that was tongue or whatever.
There would be no time, surely.
There's no time.
Yeah.
But apparently they kissed. And he told me that.
Deal breaker.
Yeah.
What happened out of interest?
I carried it on.
Oh.
I carried it on like a fool.
No.
Because
like so many.
I know it, but then again,
there's so many questions.
But then again, like when we went on that date, I just thought this guy's fun. Like, and also I never with him, I was never like I want him to be my boyfriend.
Yeah. See, this is what I mean by what do you want to get out of it? Like,
I was just like,
at the end of the day, you're just like, well, this isn't forever anyway. So like, I'm just having fun.
Exactly. I was just having fun, having a good time. But now that I look back on it, and also I feel like it would have been very dramatic of me to have been him to tell me that and being like, listen, this is it. Like, it's that's kind of over.
Unfair. Yeah, because I hate when you get in those situations where you almost feel like you can't react because it would just any reaction would be an overreaction. Like, how can you give him shit for that if it was just a kiss? It was so long ago and there's nothing serious that's going to come out of it anyway. But also, it's completely justified for you to be like, bro, that's absolutely insane.
But I didn't care about on that day. I was like, I'm gonna go home and not care about this guy.
Why didn't you, out of interest? If you were like, no,
so
that's
I was going to. I obviously didn't know he kissed her, but yeah. I was honestly, I finished my drink and then I was like, I'll go home. And then as I got more drunk, he obviously became more attractive. Yeah. And also we like kind of were having better eye contact. And then I started to have fun. And I was like, I actually don't give a fuck that he's flirting with this other girl.
So he probably knew that you hadn't seen.
Yeah, he knew I didn't see. He knew. But I was like, I'm just having fun. I'm a bit drunk now anyway.
Oh, I just feel so awkward for you at that date because, like, the two guys on your left knew, the girl knew, the guy you were on a date with knew, and I'm assuming her friend knew. So, like, everyone knew but you. But dude, that's the bit that annoys me the most is, like, that retrospective, like, embarrassed.
No. Okay.
Because I'd be like, I'm so embarrassed that I was in that situation and I had no idea and I just, like, acted normal.
Please don't feel awkward or embarrassed for me because that is pity. And I don't pity it's pity. I don't pity myself in that situation. I just feel like whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. For me, I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe in that situation, if I was like not interested in anything serious with this guy as well, I probably would be like, cool.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, honestly, as a guy, it was wrong of him, and I think he wasn't a gentleman.
Behavior.
He wasn't a gentleman. His morals were out of whack. It is, if I wanted a relationship with him, it would have been a deal breaker, I think, just because I would never have treated a guy like that I was on a date with.
I
think
agree.
it's disrespectful.
Never in a million years do that.
It's really disrespectful.
And I'm glad the guy that was on your left went nuts.
Me too.
Yeah.
Next one. And by the way, I posted this on my Insta, and this guy follows me on Instagram.
What did he say out of interest? Was he angry or no?
No. So we're friends now. Like, we have both agreed to be friends. And he messaged me saying, it's actually pretty funny. By the way, I ended up ending this relationship, this little pretext, partly because I knew, like, we got on well.
This guy!
Yeah. We had good sexual chemistry, and we got on well. We had good third-party conversations, but he didn't get me. Like, I need someone who gets me, and he didn't. And on my birthday, he went to Portugal, or wherever, it doesn't really matter where he went, and he didn't send me flowers. And for me, again, as a gentleman, that's a very big deal.
Yeah.
And so I sent him a message like 2 days after being like, we need to end this.
Specifically flowers? Or
yes.
just didn't do anything.
Flowers.
Okay.
I need flowers.
Okay.
On my birthday.
Okay.
FYI, if anyone's listening to this who I'm going to date.
Makes note.
Make a note, please. So anyway, he messages me in replying to that red flag or deal breaker saying familiar. I was waiting for you to clock, haha. He goes, it's a pretty extreme one to be fair. What's the polling saying?
That's so funny.
Didn't reply. Anyway, then he sends me a meme about jewel pods.
Okay, so basically he's fine.
He's fine. We're friends. And then he goes, I know what to get you for your next birthday now. And I go, flowers first, remember? And he goes, I can't believe you actually complained about me never having bought you flowers. You're such a princess.
That's true. You are a princess. But also, you have to know what you want.
You have to know what you want.
Yeah.
And I said, it's so rude. I'm still traumatized. And he goes, you weren't my girlfriend and I was out of the country.
Oh, wow. He's actually defending himself.
You weren't my girlfriend. I was out of the country. No way I'd do that, especially given it would have sent a completely wrong message. But now that we're friends, I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of red flags in that conversation there that I won't specifically get into because he'll see this and hear this. But yeah, concerns. Yeah.
Anyway, on to the next one. We're over him. Okay.
We're over him. I love that you're being... Molly is the only person that I know, by the way, that would be so candid about like just sharing these experiences, knowing that the person is going to see. I would never. You have such balls. I don't think so.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. You're the only person I know that's just like, I don't fucking care.
You know what it is? I think that like I genuinely like I care for all these people, and like if this guy called me and was like, I need somewhere to stay, I have nowhere to go, like I would be there. Like I don't dislike him at all. It's
You're just not gonna marry him.
No, I'm not gonna marry him. These are just funny scenarios that have happened.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. You're going out with someone and you find out that all his friends are models and he's not a model. He only has friends who are models. Maybe he has one or two that aren't. This has also happened to me.
I know a couple of people like this. I'm thinking specifically to them. Yeah. Definite red flag.
Red flag for sure.
Yeah, if not a deal breaker. But I think it massively depends on the why, the how they engage with these people, the way that they talk about them. Because the specific people that I know are always very like, oh yeah, like X is doing this shoot for this magazine at the moment, and like it's so like I'm probably gonna go meet him for a coffee afterwards, like that.
Oh, they show off about it.
Yeah, and that's for me the deal breaker, because it's just like, okay, cool. So is this all some like social climby weird thing?
Well, I think that's the thing. I think it looks like a social climby thing, or it looks like they really care about what people look like.
Yeah, but also like if they're not model, surely like does that? I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a like if they're not as good looking as their friends, that brings around certain complexes and weird insecurities that would then come out in the relationship.
Well, what if they think that they're like model hot? Like what if the person you're dating is hot?
Or they might be model hot, in which case like it's no issue. But again, then I would be like, okay, so is it a social climby thing, or is it just you are only friends with attractive people?
Yes.
Also concerning.
I dated this guy from Raya. That dating app.
Oh yeah.
That guy from New York.
Yeah.
He was really good looking. He was like 6'4", whatever.
Yeah,
and
I remember this.
All his friends were models, and his current girlfriend
He was very good looking though.
Yeah, he is really good looking.
Yeah,
Yeah, his girlfriend is the girl. I don't know if this is sharing too much information, but whatever. His girlfriend is the We Wore What girl on Instagram. Who Wore What, or whatever that famous Instagram page is. Who's gorgeous anyway.
Yeah.
But he used to always talk about.
But he could be a model.
Could he?
Do you not think so?
Maybe. He could be like a commercial model, like an Abercrombie or something.
It's so interesting that you bring up... I mean, yeah, this is probably a conversation we should have off of pod.
Okay.
But it's very interesting that you specifically brought that up.
Why?
Just because I have some thoughts on that whole situation.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But one thing that was a massive red flag, and I was very conscious of at the time, he used to, when we got drunk, he would always talk about how amazing his model friend's skin was. He would be like, oh my god, this girl's skin is so amazing. And I would be like, okay. And then he would bring it up again. And I was like, okay. It was big red flag. It wasn't a deal breaker, but red flag.
Very strange.
Really weird.
Really weird.
Okay, you go to a restaurant with significant other, and when you enter into the restaurant, even though you've both been asked for COVID-19 reasons to sanitize your hands, they refuse to you, but they lie about it to the waiter, saying that they did when they actually didn't.
Deal breaker.
Really?
I have like a real zero tolerance policy for shit like that. It's just inconsiderate, just dickish behaviour, in my opinion. Like, I would just be like, what? Like, I would, in that situation, have an argument with that person.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, well, I'm not coming in with you if you don't do it then. Like, what is the fuck?
Wow. Is that because you care so much about COVID-19, or because the act of them, like, denying
not specifically about COVID, but, like, what, you're just being difficult on like, it's not necessarily about, like, well, I'm not sitting with you because you might give me COVID because you haven't sanitized your hands.
Yeah.
Not that, but just the, like, what is the specific reason why? It's the same with people and the mask situation and, like, I can't breathe and all of this, like, crap. It's just inconsiderate. I just have, like, no time for it whatsoever.
Wasn't there a protest today in Whitechapel against wearing masks?
Yeah. There's loads of them going on.
I mean, that's such bullshit.
It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so, like, my opinion of that is heavily, like, you just must be an arse.
I agree. I think it's really self-righteous.
Yeah.
In a horrible way.
Yeah, I would genuinely, in that situation, have, like, a confrontation with that person.
For me, it wouldn't be a deal breaker. It would be a red flag, because I think if I really liked them, then I could... I don't know. It's a big character flaw. Like, it is weird, especially if they lie about it to the waiter being like, I did it.
They can't even own it.
Yeah.
And it's also such a weird, like, minuscule thing to be difficult about. So the reason why I feel, like, so concerned about it is how many other things are they being as difficult and petulant and, like, it's childish. Like, why?
So it's a deal breaker for you?
Absolutely.
For me, it's a red flag. I'd give him a second shot, although I'd be aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're invited back to their apartment, you know, things getting frisky.
Mm-hmm.
This is maybe like second date, third date, and you're like, oh, and they're like, come back to my apartment. And you're like, okay. And you go back to the apartment and it's a mess.
Oh.
It's filthy.
I've also been in a similar situation to this.
Oh, really? What happened?
Yeah. Well, just like walking in and being like, yeah, exactly that. Like, this is unexpected.
Did they pre-plan invite you, or was it like the first time, like they didn't necessarily...
No, it was pre-planned. Yeah, it was pre-planned. It wasn't like a casual post-date, like, thing.
And it was dirty or messy?
Like, it was I guess it's a shared flat.
Okay.
So, like, you can't only blame the person. But still, like, the kitchen was disgusting. The bedroom wasn't good.
Oh.
It was just, like, an obvious,
Was the bedroom messy?
It was a red flag. It wasn't a deal breaker for me in that situation.
If I went into somebody's house... or room or apartment or whatever, and it was dirty, like dirty dishes in the room, like
clothes everywhere.
Clothes everywhere is one thing, but I don't mind if it's clean and messy. I don't care.
Yeah.
If it's
dirty
like
bathroom,
smells,
the dirty bathroom really
dirty boys' bathroom is awful.
That icks me out.
It would be a deal breaker. I'd probably leave. If it was really bad, I think I'd go home.
Yeah. If it was bad enough, a deal breaker, because you're just like, how can you live like this? But also, I agree with you, if it's scruffy, then I just kind of expect that from a shared boys flat anyway. Like, when I walked in, I was like, well, you could have made an effort, but also not surprising.
Yes.
It wasn't that bad that I was like, this is disgusting.
For me, it's one of those things again that if it's pre-planned, it's kind of disrespectful. Like, I know people might think I'm a drama queen for saying that, but like, I make a conscious effort. If I invite a boy here, I will clean up, because I'm like,
well, obviously, I think that's the difference between girls and boys as well. Like, we care about stuff like that. They don't.
True.
Guys don't care about stuff like that.
Well, some guys do. Some guys do. You know, they like, and I'm not asking you to fucking roll out the red carpet, but just like put your dishes in the kitchen. Yeah, like, don't be a child. Yeah.
That is a good point. Actually, it does show you, like, their maturity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been on 4 dates with a significant other, and you're really into them.
Yeah.
You're at dinner or wherever, I don't really care, and they tell you that they're into polyamory and they want to give it a go one day.
Polyamory being where you sleep with multiple people whilst you're in a relationship.
I think so.
I think that's what it is.
Shall I Google it just
Probably,
to confirm?
just to be careful.
Yeah, let me see. Because there's like polygamous and then there's polyamory. Is it the same thing?
No, it's not polygamous. It's begins with an M. Oh my god, why is my brain...
Polyamory.
Monogamous.
Oh yeah, no, but there is polygamy as well, which I don't know what that is. Polyamory is the practice.
So several lovers.
Is the practice of or desire for intimate relationships with more than one partner.
Yeah, deal breaker.
With the informed consent of all partners involved.
But you also have to be a partner that wants to do that, surely. And I wouldn't want to do that, so it would be a deal breaker for me.
Me too. I'd be like, okay, cool, good for you, but if you want to do it one day, then like this is gonna have a time limit.
Yeah, and also when is one day? Like, exactly. Are you saying that for 10 years of our relationship, you want it to just be us, but then when we're married, you might just be like, okay, cool, I want to have more girlfriends now.
Exactly.
Because by that point, my mind can be completely changed.
Yes.
It has to be a current moment thing, surely. Like, I want to see multiple people and you. Is that okay? Not, I might want to do this one day.
Yeah, it's so waffly.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So shall I just wait for the day that you say that you're ready to date other people? Or
exactly.
Should I waste those years of my life?
And I think that girls date guys, even though this sounds crazy and it's one of those things that guys are going to say, girls are crazy. But like, girls date guys a lot of the time, not all the time, but like a lot of the girls that I know, with the intention of, could I potentially marry this person?
Yeah.
And if you're with someone or you're in the beginning stage of dating with someone and they say that they want to try it one day, I would just be like, oh, well then what's the point of this going anywhere?
Well, you have to consider, if you're going to get in a relationship with someone, you have to think about whether or not you would be in a relationship with that person forever. And if the answer is no, then why are you in that relationship?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, next one. A significant other is still friends with their ex and says they want to be lifelong friends with them. They don't text them regularly, but they do text them or call them or occasionally see them to discuss milestones in their life.
I don't think that's that. Again, like, it would depend on the circumstances. If they're honest about it, I don't think I would be asked. If I had a good relationship with my partner, there were no trust issues, they were being honest with me about it, I'd just be like, okay, cool.
Green flag.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know if I'd be like, this is great, but also I wouldn't be like put off by it. I don't think. It just is it's one of those situations that is what it is. It does happen. It isn't happen. Like a completely out there.
It's thing. Like with my ex.
As long as they didn't lie.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like that with my ex.
As long as you didn't lie.
For me, it's a green flag.
Yeah, and it depends. Like, it also indicates that their relationship was left on good terms, which is also usually a good sign.
What about if you are dating this guy, you really like him, you've been exclusive for like 2 or 3 months, and you guys didn't really used to talk about your exes, but now you're kind of talking about your exes more, and
then they drop it in.
No. Oh. Every time they bring up their exes, including flings and serious relationships, they refer to them as crazy.
Massive red flag.
Massive
red flag.
Potentially a deal breaker.
Yeah, because that narrative, like, I could go off on a whole other like tangent here, but that whole narrative of like, if a girl has a problem, or if a girl gets emotional, or if a girl is opinionated or angry or aggressive in that moment, it's because she's crazy. And it's just such a like lack of accountability, taking responsibility for the situation, like a real lack of maturity. And so for like, crazy is the number one. You call me crazy when we're in an argument and see how crazy I get.
I'm the same. I think it's really, again, I think this is the bottom line for me, is if it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes guys and girls, whoever, can really undermine people's feelings, particularly, you know what drives me up the wall? And my guy friends do it when they talk about their, like, you know, girls.
Yeah.
They'll
Same. And I always have to be like,
yeah.
No.
But when guys talk about like how a girl is hot, maybe they have a girlfriend, they're talking about another girl who's hot, and then they talk about how their girlfriend is suspicious or something, and I'm like, they're suspicious because they don't feel fully I mean, okay, there are loads of other factors that maybe they feel suspicious, but you can't deny that potentially a big one is that they don't necessarily feel secure in your relationship.
Well, that is the main one. It always comes from some kind of insecurity or trust issue,
and that's something you have to build
factors
with
to it, but like, the factors could be they've had something with this girl in the past and now they're just friends, or she spent time around the girl and the boy and every time she spends time around them she feels like there's chemistry, or like they're flirting or whatever. And so it's then the responsibility of the guy to do something about it.
Agreed.
And it's not because the girl is crazy. It might come from a girl being insecure about something, but I still don't think that is crazy.
No, I fully agree with you, and I think that maybe it's not just the responsibility of the guy to do something, but it's definitely a call to action in that relationship to be like, we clearly, if you care about the person and you claim that you love them, you need to have a conversation about what's going on rather than just calling that person crazy and being like, don't talk to me about it. Like, I can't deal with that. It's so immature.
And girls can be crazy and do crazy stuff and say crazy things, but usually they're pushed to it by the boy's behavior. Like, it's not because the girl is unhinged or unstable always. Sometimes it is, but that narrative of like, oh, if she's like annoyed at me, it must be because she's crazy, is just such an easy like cop out for guys to basically be like, it's not my fault, it's because she's crazy. And that is like the main problem, I think, in relationships that I see from my friends and in relationships that I've been in. Like, men just aren't capable of taking responsibility for their shit. But it's just an immaturity thing. Yeah,
I agree. And I think a lot of it stems from just being in the wrong relationship with the wrong person.
I agree.
But being with someone because you're like, we're going to be together. Yeah. Okay, next one. They smoke weed regularly.
It would be circumstantial for me as well. I don't have a problem with smoking weed, a guy smoking weed, but it would depend, like, are they doing nothing? Are they doing it all day, every day? Like, are they able to hold conversations with me? Are they sleeping all of the time? Like, what's the general behaviour would be important for me.
True.
It depends how much and how regularly, like, and then how does that carry on into their actual life?
Yes, it's circumstantial.
Yeah.
I think I'm the same. Like, if I was with somebody who smoked weed every day, but had his shit together and was able to hold conversation, I'd be like, that's totally fine.
I do think it's something that's becoming more normal as well, like high functioning stoners or whatever, or like just the way that people are smoking weed or doing things like that. Like, it doesn't necessarily always mean that they are wasting away.
Yeah, it's just associated with being like stoner lifestyle.
But if they were like major stoner wasting away, for me it would be a deal breaker, because I'm just too 100 miles an hour all of the time for that to work.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Even though I do think if you're 100 miles an hour, it doesn't necessarily mean it's good to have somebody else who's 100 miles an hour. No. And it can be very good to have someone
functioning.
They need to be functioning. Yeah. Agreed. Next one, what if you are seeing a guy, you really like him, the sex is great, you have great chemistry, you start noticing that he doesn't really go down on you? And you bring it up because you're like, well, this is weird. And he's like, yeah, I don't really like it. It kind of freaks me out. I'm not used to
it. It's annoying, but you can't, I don't know, neither. It's not a red flag or a deal breaker necessarily.
Really?
But it is, yeah, like, obviously it's inconvenient, but like, you can't force someone to do something they don't want to do. I'm sure there would be some questions as to why exactly it was such a big problem, but I don't think I wouldn't immediately break up with someone for it. I would be like, fuck's sake.
But if this is like, not necessarily break up, you guys might not be in a relationship, but this is like 4th or 5th time you guys are hanging out, or like maybe you've been with them for like 2 months. You've been with them for 2 months and you really like them and you're exclusive.
Yeah.
I think it would potentially be a deal breaker. It depends on how they handled it. If they had like some good excuse that was like they had a traumatic experience and like they suffer PTSD or something, I'd be like, okay, we can work through this.
Yeah.
But I would be like, dude, what the fuck? Like, if I'm doing that, you can't just have some excuse of like, I don't do that.
I think the problem is it highlights probably like other behaviors, because as you say, like, the chances of it being a specific reason, like I've had a traumatic experience or I'm allergic or something,
I'm allergic
along those lines,
I'd be
are like
what?
Slim to none. So realistically it's probably because they're just selfish and CBA,
right?
So the selfish and CBA is the bit that is an issue,
and especially when sex and all of that fun stuff is like a two-way street. It's like a lovely experience, and if they're like, I'm just not doing that, I would have a serious problem with that. And it's not the problem of, I want you to do this because like, I want this so much. I mean, potentially it is, but it would be more like, what, like the thing with you and the waiter of like, why are you making this such a big deal with the hand sanitizer? Like, why is this such a massive deal for you? Like a self-righteous kind of thing of someone saying, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. It would be like a red flag for other selfish behaviors. Yeah.
Next one. What if it's your birthday? How old are you?
24.
Okay, it's your 25th birthday, and you know that your significant other, Alex, asks you what you want for your birthday. You've been going out for like a year. You've told him something in particular you want potentially. And on the day of your birthday, he buys you really nice lingerie from like Asian Provocateur or whatever.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
And that's all I get?
You go... And that's all I get, bitch. No, you go for dinner as well. So you go for dinner, and he buys
like
you.
my gift is
Your gift is some really sexy, beautiful lingerie.
I guess red flag. It's not a deal breaker. I'd just be like, well, this is clearly a present for you as much as this for me. So like maybe we could do more of a like less of an us present and more of a me present next time.
Yeah. For me, it's so true. If you're going out with someone for a year, that can't be a deal breaker. Like, why did you break up? The bitch only bought me like underwear.
Right, yeah.
But it would it would be a serious like. I would be.
I don't
annoyed.
even think it would be a serious red flag. Like, I don't know if I'd be annoyed.
I'd be like, are you
maybe
kidding?
I would be.
It's for you.
Yeah.
You bought this present for yourself.
Yeah, I'd definitely be annoyed if that was it. I'd be like, you specifically asked me what I wanted. I told you, and now you've just got me this.
Yeah.
It would be more the principle of that situation rather than the just getting lingerie. I would be like, what was the point in like even asking? Like, you could have done. You could have done better, and you haven't.
Yeah. I'd still be grateful.
Yeah.
But
underwear's underwear, isn't it?
No.
But
I disagree with that. I recently bought some, and I don't normally buy like sexy lingerie, but recently I did because I was like, oh, I'm gonna treat myself, and I was shocked at how amazing it made me feel.
When I say underwear is underwear, I mean like you're never gonna be like, holy shit, this is the best present ever.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, like, nice underwear does make you feel good. Nice underwear, great. Like, I put it on, I feel amazing. I feel a lot better about myself. I want you to see it. But, like, I don't think I would ever be bowled over if someone got me, regardless of how amazing it was. I don't think I would ever be like, wow.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, if I was seeing someone, like, seriously, and if I had said to them before, like, I really like this brand or I really want this specific thing, I would genuinely be so happy if I had voiced it saying this is what I want, and if they got me that, I would be so happy. Because nice underwear just makes you feel, like, expensive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it does make you feel nice. And bougie.
It's bougie. You're like, oh, my nice underwear. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna wear I never wear it, by the way.
But that's like it's like a Valentine's Day present or like an anniversary present or something along those lines. Like it's not a birthday or Christmas.
No, it's a sexy prez.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Okay, so you are speaking to someone on Hinge or on a dating app, and they ask for your Instagram before they ask for your number.
Red flag. Yeah.
It's a deal.
You know why they just want to have a stalk, basically, have like a look, make sure you're not, or like either check out your lifestyle, check what you look like in other pictures, check your friends. Are you a big deal? Are you not a big deal? There's just a whole load of like, okay, cool. So that shows what's important to you type thing.
It's a deal breaker for me.
Really?
I've been speaking to guys on Hinge, and I can show you examples, and they've said, can I have your Instagram? And I've just completely ignored them.
Just blank the message.
Completely blank them.
Yeah, that's fair. To be fair, if it was like that situation, I might do that as well. Like, it is easy to just be like, okay, I don't have to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, especially when you haven't met them.
Yeah.
Because I'm of the camp of people who I don't think ghosting is in not replying. I personally don't think it's bad if you haven't met them, because life happens. There's shit. People are busy. If someone doesn't reply to me, I'm like, whatever. Like, they're probably doing something. You know. But if I've met them, then I think it's bad.
I've done both, like ghosted and not ghosted people.
Yeah.
And I think retrospectively, not ghosting is nicer, but not always, not as in like it's probably the right thing to do, but it's not always applicable. Like, there are certain situations where I just knew for a fact that if I'd have given an explanation as to why I wasn't interested or why I didn't want to take it any further, in fact this has happened to me, the person that I've said it to has gone apeshit, and it's just not worth creating that scenario. Like, I don't want to argue with you about it. I don't want you to try and sell yourself to me or convince me otherwise. Like, I've made my decision, and I just want you to leave me alone, and that's why the ghosting element is easier, because
so
it's easier to be like,
you've been in scenarios where you've like said to someone, listen, I don't want to carry this on, and they got mad.
Several.
Really?
Yeah, have you not?
Never.
What? Several. Like I've ghosted people as well, and then they've got mad. Like I don't even know if I'd be able to find the message. Like there was this one guy that was basically like, oh, is this what go? So that I'd like ignored a couple of messages. This one was specifically like he was relatively arrogant, and I was like, this is only going to end up in drama. Also, we'd only been on 2 dates, so I was like, I'm just going to leave it. And
you met him, so you've been on 2 dates
twice,
okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't want to get into this argument with you, who's being quite generally like pushy anyway, and so I just like didn't reply to his message at the end of a conversation that had quite clearly come to a close anyway. And then he sent me,
so he kind of came to a close
the first time.
Okay.
Then he sent me another message and I just didn't reply, and then he sent me another message like a month later saying, is this what ghosting is? And by that point I was like take the hint.
I think I'm on his side.
Really? Because 2 dates?
I personally, if you have met them, you
owe them a message. Yeah. So that is retrospectively what I regret now. That's the example where I'm like, I should have just said to him, like if I'd have just been straight up, I don't have to get into the argument with them.
Yeah.
But at that time I was so anxious about the response that I would get, or like, I just don't have time for this, I just don't want to be doing this, like I don't want you to make me feel shit for making a decision, I'm just going to avoid doing it altogether. But that is the situation where I'm like, retrospectively I should have just said to him, like, I'm just not that into it, and then if I don't want to reply, don't reply. I
think it comes with age. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I've definitely been in scenarios when I was younger and felt like, oh god, I just don't want to have to deal with rejecting this person, and didn't want to do it.
That is what it is, isn't it? Like, I just don't want to have to deal with this.
But that is what being a mature, responsible adult is.
Agree.
And so now, I mean, I've also been in scenarios where, like, January went on a date with this guy and I wasn't into it, and he messaged me after saying, hey, we should do that again. And I said, yeah, for sure. And then I never messaged him. He didn't message me. In those scenarios, I think whilst honesty is the best policy, if you can avoid hurting someone's feelings pointlessly, then take the better road.
I agree as well. And also that fizzled out on its own in the situation I just explained. Like, he was actively, obviously, trying to start up conversation again. And so the right thing to do
would have been
send a message.
Let them know. I am all for that.
I can't believe you haven't had someone respond to you and be like, I don't think that's fair, or like, there's always, because the thing is if you don't like someone, you have to give some kind of like, either I don't want a serious relationship right now, or like I just don't think that we'd work, or whatever. Like, I've had guys reply to me and be like, why don't you think we would work? We had a great date, or like something along those lines, or like, what specifically is it about me that you didn't like? Like, can you go into more detail? Like, just why?
Yeah.
What? Like,
so I have had this, which is a massive red flag, pet peeve, deal breaker for me, right? So I met this guy in...
Also, I just saw someone on your phone who has a red flag next
to
yeah.
All my exes, like
literally
I have loads.
Literally has a red flag emoji next to the contact.
Guys who I dated and I don't date anymore, I put a big X and a red flag. But nice ones.
Just so you don't accidentally call them.
Well, no, because I'm just like, you're done.
Just
like,
a reminder, yeah. Okay.
It's just a reminder. I'm like, okay, red flag, yeah, like, go away. And so this one guy who I actually met in real life, in the park, he sent me a message, he got my number, and he sent me a message asking to go on a date. And I basically didn't fancy him, so I just said, you're super nice and jokes, but I didn't really get that vibe of more than mates. Hopefully you will, do a workout or something soon. And he goes, worth a shot. And I go, 100%, if you don't shoot, you don't score. I'm not going to shoot this guy down. Like, he was nice.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. He goes, haha, anything I can do to make you reconsider that view?
See, that's exactly what I mean.
Then he goes, it's possible your judgment is off after that intense workout. And I go, that kills me when guys say, I don't know if you're right.
Yeah.
So I go, haha, no, my judgment is often right, but thank you. And then he goes, I don't know, on this one I'm skeptical. And then I just didn't reply because I was just like, I get it and I respect it and, you're trying, but it's also just like, I've said no.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
It's not a debate. Like, I've made a decision. I'm capable of making a decision. And so please respect my decision.
Yeah, like, I'm capable. Like, I'm a fully grown woman.
That's
like,
what annoys
I've said
me.
no.
Yeah.
It's not like...
And also, like, if you enter into that conversation, it can quite quickly turn argumentative. And that's what I hate. That's what I try and avoid. Because, like, my switch is like this, as you well know. So, like, as soon as they start, like, getting arsey or being difficult, it just is going to end up in an argument. I don't know how to avoid it.
See, that I've never had. And like I have like last time when I was doing my dating podcast with my mum was like, I just hate when guys like just tell you how much they love you and all this stuff. And I was like,
I loved that your mum said that though, because I'm like, yeah, it's too much.
Yeah,
like
but that's never happened to me. And it's like this as well, being like, but don't you hate when guys get in a fight so you don't want to date with them? And I'm like, maybe, but it's never happened to me.
Maybe you just have better taste in men, or it's like better luck, because the stories that your mum and I are saying are like bad. It's not like, I'm not happy that they happen.
Yeah.
But I think it just is the type of people, I guess, that you go on a date with. I don't think it's reflective of how good you are on a date.
I think I genuinely do have good taste in guys overall.
You do have better taste in guys, than a lot of people that I know.
Yeah.
But also you are like, you're more picky.
I'm more picky.
You tolerate less.
I am picky.
You know what you want, you kind of stick to it type thing. You're not just like, yeah, whatever.
1,000%. Okay, we're going to go through a few more of these.
Okay.
Okay, your exclusive was...
There are a lot of sirens that go by this flat, by the way.
I honestly get more...
That must be like the 4th or 5th.
I am more worried when I don't hear sirens because I am so used to it. So now when it's quiet, I'm like, this is fuck. Yeah, I'm like, what? Okay? Is everyone okay? Like, what's happening? Like, where are the sirens at?
Yeah.
I go to sleep with like lullaby as a siren. It's traumatic. Okay, so exclusive with significant other for 3 months and they've still never called or phoned or FaceTimed you.
Red flag? I don't know if that's a deal breaker. I'm just trying to think back now. It's like, callings with FaceTiming, I don't care about that. Like, if you would rather call me than FaceTime me, like, there's no particular drama. But I guess why? Like, are you only comfortable talking to me through text message? Or, because I assume if you're with that person for 3 months, you've been on several dates with them, you spent a fair amount of time with them. So it might just be their, like, preference for how they contact people, in which case, like, fine. If they were like, no, you can never phone me, I will never speak to you on the phone ever, I would be like, that's fucking strange.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, that would be a deal breaker.
That would be like a serious red flag, if not a deal breaker. But if it's just like, it's not a thing and they just happen to only communicate with you via text, I don't even think I'd notice, to be honest. Yeah. That's not the type of thing I think I'd pick up on.
For me, it's a red flag, although it's not something because also it's like, why am I not calling them? Like, and that might be a red flag in itself of me not feeling comfortable maybe to call them.
Yeah.
Or
not that, but like, you don't want to talk to them that much.
I find it very attractive and it very rarely happens, if ever, but like when guys call me and they call like on the phone. I'm like,
meeting them.
No, I've never had that.
Okay, because I think
I have had that. I FaceTimed with a guy during Corona before I met him.
Well, that's different because pandemic.
Yeah. Hashtag pandemic.
Yeah.
I hate myself for saying that. Yes. But I liked it. He was older, so I don't know as well if it was like an older thing.
Yeah, I think so. It's just like, if you're more secure in yourself, you worry. Because like, if I hadn't met someone, I wouldn't call them because it's just weird.
Yeah.
Like, I would feel awkward doing it, probably because I wouldn't feel secure in like what we were going to talk about. Am I going to like this person? Am I going to say something dumb?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've met them a few times, then if you've got anxiety about talking to them on the phone, there's a bigger
there's a bigger thing there. Okay, this one I love. My best friend thought I was so weird for coming up with this, but I think it's so interesting.
Has this happened to you, or did you just come up with it?
I've come up with it. Okay. I was chewing gum and then I thought of it.
Okay.
So you've been on 3 dates with
Gum related.
You've been on 3 dates with significant other who you're into, but not wildly. Mid conversation, they accidentally spit their gum on you and they don't apologize.
What? This hasn't happened to you?
This has never happened to me, but it fuels a fire inside of me thinking about this scenario.
If they didn't acknowledge it, deal breaker.
Walk
out. What? I'd leave. I'd be like, are you joking?
Yeah, are you joking?
Yeah.
If someone spat gum on me, I don't care, by the way. If someone spat gum on me, I wouldn't care if they were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, that was a mistake.
You must have noticed what just happened.
If they spat gum on me and it fell on me, I had to literally pick it off my dress or whatever.
Or out your hair.
Or out my hair. Look at them and they don't ferociously apologise.
No embarrassment, no nothing.
I would say, are you joking?
Yeah, same.
You just spat on me.
I'd be like, that's vile.
By the way,
etiquette
Yeah.
Where are the manners?
I would respect them so much if they spat on me and then were like, oh
And
my
then they'd be
God.
like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. That's
Exactly.
what I would expect someone to
You
do.
have to own it.
Yeah.
And then turn it into a private joke of like...
Again, it'd just be like an indication of arrogance and like general,
I mean, they could be absolutely mortified.
and just not brave enough to acknowledge it.
In which
But
case...
then, like, if you're sat in front of them picking it off your... Like, you can't pretend that didn't happen.
No.
Like, where did it fall out of the sky? Like, obviously it came from your mouth. You must have noticed you're now not chewing anything. So...
Yeah, if I could sense that they were just absolutely mortified and embarrassed, I would never
flushed bright red.
Yeah, I would never judge them for it. I would just be like, it's clearly not going to work out, because I think I need someone who's very banter, jokes.
Yeah,
you know,
you have to laugh at situations.
You have to laugh.
Yeah,
and if they didn't laugh, I'd be like, okay, it's not going to work between you and me.
You're too nervous.
You're a bit nervous, like, you know. And for right now, obviously, I could be wrong, but I think I need someone who is more. Like, they own the shit that they do, and they own it when they're embarrassed and stuff. Okay, you've been let me see. You've been seeing significant other, and then after this, I'm gonna just go through a few that people have just messaged me in the last in the last bit, and then we'll wrap it up.
Was this a requested pod? Was this like a we really want to hear you talk about this?
No, I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so interesting, like millennial dating and just general dating.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to just like talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been seeing significant other for 4 months. You're not boyfriend or girlfriend, but like it's kind of serious, you know. They've still never posted about you on Instagram story or the feed, and you've only met their friends a couple of times.
Red flag, not deal breaker. I feel like I've had issues with this in the past. Like, why do you have a problem with putting me on social media, and like, do you just not want to show me off? But the only reason why I've done that is because of an insecurity of like, just simple insecurity. Like, one, is there a reason that you haven't done it? Two, is it because you're embarrassed of me or you don't want to show me off? But like, why is so much weight placed on being publicized on social media? Like, I've had this conversation so many times, and if it's just not as important to that person, and I think generally if they're sharing every aspect of their life and choosing not to share you, there is a concern there, because obviously you then want to kind of, it's not because they're not an oversharer on social media, well, they're obviously are averse to showing you specifically for some reason.
But what if they've showed photos of, you know, previous relationships that they've had, even just flings and stuff, of like random girls on their story, and they've just never done it with you?
How long did you say we've been together?
4 months. Like, seriously though, not boyfriend and girlfriend, but like you've posted a few of him, he's posted ones of girls that he's like just had things with in the past.
Yeah, I think red flag. Yeah. But not like a big flashing waving red flag, just like I would question it.
Yeah.
Like excuse me.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I think I would like get my friends to like, in a way, like if we were out together and they took a photo, I don't know, it's just one of those scenarios where like you want it to be addressed, but you don't want it, you know, at the end of the day it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and also 9 times out of 10 you're going to be overthinking it anyway. Like, I guarantee you that it probably isn't a thing you need to worry about. It just, you want it to happen, and so the fact it isn't happening is completely obvious to you, but to them they might not even,
which is, guys are like
registered.
That
guys
don't
like,
register.
It's just not that big a deal.
What about they take you to restaurants and places that they took their ex-girlfriend or their ex-boyfriend, and you're aware that you've been there with their ex, or that you go there and they're like, yeah, I used to come here with my ex? Like,
red flag / deal breaker. I also, a few of my friends have been in this situation as well. And so there's actually 2 friends that I can specifically think of that have been in this situation, or they said partner still has belongings of ex-girlfriend.
That's a deal breaker.
Yeah. And so I have seen firsthand the like ripple wave effect that it causes of just complete paranoia and freaking out. I think if it's like you live in a tiny village and there's only one pub, and so like fair enough. But if you're in London and you just always go to the same place, or even if I was on a date with a guy and he took all of his first dates to the same place, that would be a red flag as well, because
my best friend does that.
But first of all, you're a serial dater, and so like you know what you're doing, so you can put effort in you live in London, like there are multiple places you could take me, you're making the same effort for every single girl, like I wouldn't be happy with that. That would be where my princess would come out, and I'd be like, no, like you can make more effort than just going to the same place that you always go to.
I wouldn't care. For me, I wouldn't care if they took me to places that they went. If it was like my birthday dinner and they took me to, I don't know, why would I be going on a date for my birthday dinner? I wouldn't. But like if I had been seeing them for a while and they took me to the same place that they like had their anniversary dinner with their ex, I would be like, what the fuck? But if I don't really know him that well and it's a first date or a second date or a third date, even up to 10 dates, first 10 dates, although first 10 dates with someone and like not being their boyfriend or girlfriend sounds a bit extreme, but like going on like 10 dates with someone and I find out that he's taken me to these places that he's been to before, I wouldn't care, because I'd be like, to be honest, I get it, like you like a place, you know it's good. It's hard to find solid places that you know are consistently good.
True.
And also I'd be like, it doesn't determine how he feels about me. It's not like I feel like because he's taken me to a new place, he's made more of an effort. He could just really like that place, and he thinks I might really like that place.
That's true. The situation I'm imagining, like when you said that, the first situation I imagined is that like he goes on lots of dates and he only takes his dates to this place because like it's just a thing. It's not because it's a good place that he knows everyone will enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I immediately associated that with something negative.
Right.
And so I would be like, well, don't just bring me to the same place that you fucking take everyone.
Yeah.
Just because you go on loads of dates doesn't mean you don't have to make any effort. That's my immediate. But if it's like, oh, I know this really great place nearby, I know that you're going to enjoy it, then that's slightly different.
My best friend, I mean, he's in a relationship now, but his current girlfriend knows this, but he took all his dates to the same place in London, and I've spoken to her about this. She's lovely, and she spoke to me about, she knew, like,
I think I know who this is as well.
Judah.
Yeah. The surname begins with a W, doesn't it?
No.
No?
I just said the name.
Oh. Judah?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think Judah would care, by the way, why I'm saying this, because he knows. But no.
Does he?
He wouldn't care, yeah. He would. But I mean, Judah's my best friend ever, and I absolutely love him, and he loves this place in London, so he took a bunch of his first dates.
See, that's different. He's like, I love this place, it's my favourite place, I know this place well.
Yes.
I'm going to go there.
But he knows the bouncer on the door, and so the bouncer would be like, hey, Judah.
You again.
Yeah, you again. So the girl, his current girlfriend, knew, and she didn't like it, which obviously I get. Like, if I went to a place and everyone was like, hey, how you doing? I don't want to feel like I'm, 10th chick.
That's exactly what I mean, though. That's why
fair.
I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, no, like, you don't make me, like, yeah.
That's totally fair.
Put a bit of effort in.
That's totally fair. Okay. The whole I'm going to be mean to you all the time because I think it's a funny act. Okay, someone sent me one saying, is it a red flag or a deal breaker if they treat you mean in a way that's to represent that they're flirting with you? Like, she has specifically said, I'm going to be mean to you all the time because I think it's a funny act.
I think that's a read the room situation. Like, I personally quite like savage, dark, like sarcastic humour. So if somebody's taking the piss out of me, if it's one-on-one, I also think if this is something that they do in front of people to humiliate you because they think it's funny or they think it makes them look better, deal breaker. Mm-hmm. But if it's like you have a mean back and forth and it's just where you are kind of taking the piss out of each other, I think, like, I like that. I find it entertaining, and it is our way of flirting, but only if the person on the other end is, one, able to reciprocate, and two, it isn't going to upset them. Like, you can't do that to somebody that isn't able to either handle it or like give it back.
It's just a personality. It's just a personality thing.
Exactly. But it's like being a bully, like he's just being mean because he knows he can be mean.
Fuck that. Block him.
Yeah.
That shit's not okay.
No.
Next one. Oh gosh, this is bad. So someone DM'd me saying that oh my god, their friend blocked a guy because the guy forgot his wallet on a date.
This is a big thing for you, isn't it?
No, that's so ridiculous. Yeah. I would never. That's so mean.
But like, did he forget his wallet or did he forget his wallet?
I think that's really... Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Like, maybe they lied. Well, in today's world anyway, with Apple Pay...
Yeah, it's not a thing.
It's not a thing. But if I was on a date with someone, they forgot their wallet, I would never block them. I mean, that's so mean, because they probably genuinely forgot. And also, if you had really great chemistry... And if you go on another date and he does it again, then I would be like, okay, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
yeah, if it's an innocent mistake, like how can you be angry about that? I don't really understand. I wouldn't block someone because they actually innocently forgot their wallet, or like I'm just picturing someone like frantically like searching all of their pockets, like I don't have it. Like how I wouldn't like be like fuck you, bye.
No, never. So funny. I took my friend for coffee recently. We literally went for coffee. I was like, please come for coffee with me. Like I'll buy you breakfast and stuff. And we go there, and I order the coffee and the breakfast, and I actually did forget my wallet. And I was like, I'm so sorry, you just have to pay for me. And he was like, great. Okay, last one. Okay, things that your date does that are out of their control. For example, like a restaurant disrupting laugh.
Oh.
I guess like they're...
Oh, I hate this.
Wait, what do you hate? Tell me.
Like if somebody, because what I'm taking from that is like you're on a date with someone and they laugh so loudly, so obnoxiously that like everyone's looking, or like it just is so awkward and too much, and that person is just socially unaware.
Wait, so, okay. Is that a red
That's
flag?
What I'm picturing. Is that a deal breaker? I hate it. It makes me so uncomfortable because
that's so interesting.
Like, if they are that socially unaware and like give zero, like no, the thought of it, Molly, is making my toes curl right now. I'm just like, no, get me out of that restaurant.
You and me are polar opposite on this.
Really?
If I was on a date, I love you, right? I want to just, I love you, okay, as a person. I hate people I don't know, who do that to people like that. Like, I think, like,
Who do what, though?
I can't even express myself. Like, I am the kind of person...
You feel passionate about this?
I'm very passionate. I'm socially aware, you know, all of this stuff. But if I'm with someone who is not rude, like, if they're rude, then I can't deal with it.
But do you not think being, like, disruptive by, like, laughing that loudly and not giving a fuck about your surroundings is rude?
I quite like people who don't care. I like people who are loud. I like people who, if they do it in a charming way, like, I like people who are very much themselves, who laugh so loud that everyone listens. Like, to be honest, I'm a bit like that. Like, I've been in restaurants before where people have asked me to be quiet, and I've been like, are you joking?
But you're not unaware as a person.
No, I'm very aware, I think. Yeah. But I just, like, my dad is very loud. He's always the one that people can hear. Like, me and my brother sometimes are like, oh my God, Dad, you're so loud. But, like, it's a massive deal breaker for me if I was ever out with someone who said, can you tone it down?
See, that, like, I think that kind of explains it to a T, because you've just said that your dad is like, you know, he doesn't give a fuck, he'll go out and he'll be loud and who cares. But my dad is always very, like, I saw him recently and he was like, oh, you've got your like loud London obnoxious voice, and he was like,
oh really? For people who aren't watching the video, Eva just like basically told people to be quiet with like a hand gesture,
like a downwards hand movement. But so he's always been very like, you don't need to shout, I'm right here, and I do it now. So like I've done it in my current relationship where I'm like,
inside voices. So it must come from like your parents.
100%. It just is a pet peeve. Like, I just don't like it. I also don't like it because I think it is rude. Like, I think if you're in a restaurant or in a public setting and everyone's like, you're in a shared environment, you don't get to like commandeer the entire room because you're not considering anyone else around you. I do agree that it is a nice quality of people if they just don't give a fuck. But I think it's a very fine line between like just being like cavalierly like, I don't care what anyone thinks of me, and I'm unaware and I'm being rude.
I agree with you. I think that like whilst I do really like it when people are themselves and you don't really care if they're having a good time, there is a line obviously where like if you're actively disturbing a lot of people and you're crossing the line, then it's rude and you shouldn't do it. But then, you know, at the same time, I'm all for a bit of bants.
I think also that's slightly because you don't really care, as in like you are a good I don't give a fuck person, and so that the thought of that situation makes me anxious. I'm like, I would have to tell them to like stop, or like no. If everyone was looking over and I was aware and they weren't aware and it was just a whole thing where no. There are so many variables in that matter, because I have been in scenarios before where I think I have been a bit like, oh my God, chill. Like, I do remember with my ex-boyfriend once, he was super loud and like
being obnoxious for the sake of being obnoxious, not because it was part of what was going on.
Agree. It is circumstantial, isn't it? Because if it just is, they want people to look at them.
That kills me.
Yeah.
When people are attention seeking like that kills me.
Yeah.
If they're just being themselves and describing something and whatever, then I don't mind.
And they
as
happen
much.
to be being passionate about it at the time, which is fair.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Red flags and deal breakers.